let's go here. It's amazing how the CIA it's either predictive or it's participative. No, I'm not making any definitive statements. It's interesting. They know, be careful about something that might happen, and then it happens. This is from Reuters, September 27th. What day is it today? That's today. CIA warned Berlin about possible attacks on gas pipelines in summer. Spiegel. Now, the thing about this is the CIA doesn't need to warn anybody. These are always realistic fears, concerns. Bomb threats, sabotage, they always exist. The question is, when there's intelligence explicitly making such warnings of risks that always exist, like massive infrastructure always has a risk of sabotage. But when they make the warning, despite it always being a concern, and then something happens a few months later, people's connecting the dots, theorizing minds are going to start going to work. CIA warned Berlin about possible attacks on gas pipelines in summer. Spiegel. Der Spiegel. The U.S. Central Intelligence Agency had weeks ago warned Germany about possible attacks on gas pipelines in the Baltic Sea. German magazine Spiegel said on Tuesday, after gas leaks in Russia pipelines to Germany were reported. I'm going to show you the video or the picture. Everyone's making a joke, drop a lighter in it, throw a match in it. But if what we see bubbling up is actually natural gas coming up from the bottom of the ocean, if that ignites, there was a video of it, and it was just shocking. But the German government received the CIA tip in the summer. I mean, the tip, you think German authorities didn't know there might be people like, it could be environmentalists, it could be Russians, it could be the CIA, it could be intelligence. You think they need the tip? Hey guys, someone might try to sabotage your pipelines. I mean, you guys need this for infrastructure. You need this for heating homes in winter. Someone might try to sabotage it. Keep an eye on it. Oh, thank you so much for the tip, CIA. That never occurred to us before. Spiegel reported, citing unnamed sources, adding that Berlin assumes a targeted attack on Nord Stream 1. Adding that Berlin assumes a targeted attack on Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. That sentence seems fragmented. A German government spokesperson declined to comment. Okay, so CIA stating the obvious, people might want to sabotage critical infrastructure. Salty Sarge 2021 says, cytokine storm causes blood clotting and starves organs of oxygen, thereby causing necrosis or death of tissue. The same happens when the spike proteins of the jab enters the bloodstream. Dude, don't make a neurotic hypochondriac more neurotic and more hypochondriacal. So now look at this. Is this a picture or is this a video? Look at this, people. This is the video of the of what appears to be a gas leak in the Nord Stream pipeline. We'll go over briefly what they are, but it's a pipeline that delivers, I think it says something like 30% of Europe's energy comes from Russia, and this is a pipeline going from Russia to Germany under the Baltic Sea. This, by the way, for perspective, did it say it here? This, for perspective, is 1 kilometer wide. Did it say it here? The Danish military has released volatile footage of a mysterious frothing disturbance in the Baltic Sea in the vicinity of the Nord Stream pipelines. This is 1 kilometer wide. So let that sink in. If I had to run that distance during a 5-kilometer fun run, I could cover that in 4.5 minutes. That's a joke. That's 1 kilometer. That's basically like a disturbance of 1 kilometer wide. Interesting. Let's just see if I can find this here, actually. The video of one that was on fire. Gas pipe leak fire. Yeah, this is it right here. Look at this.
From production to process.
This is going to blow your minds. This is what happens when it catches on fire, I guess. And I don't know if it's any better or worse environment, but look at.
Look just like a scene from a disaster movie, but this is real. This video captured today when the ocean caught fire in the Gulf of Mexico, just west of the Yucatan Peninsula. Those dramatic images of the ocean aflame quickly going viral on social media.
It's like
it's an eye of fire, while others said it looked like the
Lord of the Rings.
Hell opening up. Pemex, the Mexican state-run oil company, says an underground natural gas pipeline sprung a leak that caused that mid-ocean fire. A number of firefighting boats pumped water onto the fire for nearly 5 hours until...
I'm sorry. How do you put out a fire on water by pumping water onto the fire on water? That's irony, people. But that it looks like the portal in The Ring. Oh, in German, Strom means stream. So Nord Stream is North Stream. That is from J.M. Forrest, 09. 1 kilometer is about half a mile for all of you Americans. It's exactly 0.6 of a mile. It's a fair distance. It's a fair distance. There's some banging going on here. So that's what it looks like when a gas leak from a pipe in the ocean catches fire. But it doesn't look like if that's the leak, which it really seems to be. It hasn't caught fire yet, and hopefully it doesn't. So let's just see just a little explainer. This is from Al Jazeera. That's also an outlet that I like to read from to get away from CNN and Fox News and MSNBC. Nord Stream pipeline leaks. What happened? What's the impact? A series of unusual leaks in 2 gas pipelines running from Russia under the Baltic Sea to Germany triggered concerns about sabotage. Understandably so. Although, I mean, how would you sabotage an underwater pipe in the first place? Would you like troll a hook over it or an anchor or something to break the pipes or drop charges down? I can't even think that diabolically. Sudden and unexplained gas leaks detected in the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines from Russia to Germany have prompted investigations by European countries into the cause amid fear of possible sabotage. I'm betting on sabotage. This is too coincidental to not be sabotage. So that's where this is like an orgy of evidence. Like in Minority Report, like, okay, we have a conflict between Russia and Ukraine, sanctions on Russia, demands that Russia continue to supply natural gas so that Europe can continue to heat their homes while Europe imposes sanctions on Russia. Russia says, well, if we have problems with the pipeline, how are we going to do it? And lo and behold, there's problems with the pipeline. Who could it be? This could be any number of parties involved in the sabotage. Russia to punish, Europe to create sympathy, the US to create animosity, anybody. It could be environmentalists, just coincidentally. Who knows? We'll find out. Denmark's armed forces on Tuesday released video showing bubbles rushing to the surface of the Baltic Sea above the pipelines, and said the largest gas leak has caused surface disturbances of well over 1 kilometer in diameter. An energy standoff over Russia's war in Ukraine halted flows through Nord Stream 1 and prevented the onset of flows through the parallel Nord Stream 2. Plunging Russian gas supplies have caused prices to soar in Europe, where countries have struggled to find alternative supplies of energy used to heat homes, generate electricity, and run factories. And at the same time, what are the ever-wise members of European government doing? They're decommissioning nuclear power plants. It's almost like it's manufactured. It's almost like it's a manufactured crisis, or at the very least, not throwing water onto this fire. They're just throwing gas onto this fire. The leak overshadows the inauguration of the long-awaited Baltic pipeline that will bring Norwegian gas to Poland in efforts to bolster Europe's energy independence from Moscow. It's funny. Who was emphasizing the risks of European dependence on Russian energy? I remember some crazy, dumb, corrupt man raising this flag a long time ago. And I remember some German politicians laughing and scoffing, playing the fiddle, so to speak, while they were hearing these warnings. Well, not who's laughing now because people are crying now, but who was right. The operator of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline reported a sudden drop in pressure overnight Monday, with a spokesperson suggesting there could have been a leak. Yeah, I think we can agree with that now. Okay, well, I think there's nothing new in here. Where are the leaks? The leaks were detected on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which stopped delivering gas to Europe last month, both in an area northeast of the Danish island of Bornholm. Danish authorities have asked ships to stay clear of the Bornholm by a 5 nautical mile radius. Okay, fine. Both pipelines still contain gas under pressure, but are not delivering the fuel to Europe. Each line of the pipeline consists of about 100,000 24-ton concrete. Each line of the pipeline consists of about 100,000 24-ton concrete weight coated steel pipes laid on the seabed. The pipelines have a constant internal diameter of 1.153 meters, according to Nord Stream. It's very cool. What caused the leak? Unclear, yada, yada. Kremlin has said it did not rule out sabotage as a reason behind the damage, adding it was an issue affecting the energy security of the entire continent. Poland's prime minister said the leaks were an act of sabotage, while Denmark's leader said it could not be ruled out. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Who is investigating? We don't really care. Potential impact. The extent of the damage means the Nord Stream pipelines are unlikely to be able to carry any gas to Europe this winter, even if there was political will to bring them online, analysts of the Eurasia Group said. Depending on the scale of the damage, this is looking very, very, very bad for German citizens, German people, European people. Hold on, where's the stream here? I'll put the link in here so people can go read the article from Al Jazeera. It could not have been an earthquake. That we can rule out earthquake, natural disaster. Could have been an accident. Could have been wear and tear. Could have been too high pressure. Sabotage is looking like. Yeah, we'll see. Let me see here in the chat. I'm sure Russia wants to stop making money selling natural gas. Makes sense. What's actually shocking is the degree to which Europe relies on Russia for natural gas. Hold on, let me see if I can find this article. Here we go. Nord Stream, what is it? The degree to which Europe is utterly dependent on Russia really makes you question policy. Now, it's nice to starve your own citizens for moral reasons, but government is supposed to be responsible to its citizens. Let me just see here. It said it. I just skipped over this. Let's see, percent. I think it was like something like 30% of Germany's of Europe's natural gas came from Russia, and so you impose sanctions on Russia because of the Russia-Ukraine war, and then you don't expect Russia to fight back, and now there seems to be a problem that will preclude Europe from getting much-needed natural gas from Russia, even if there were a political resolution. And I'll tell you, the only people who are going to suffer, sure as hell, is not going to be the politicians. Rib Tay says, can you start revealing the woke companies, businesses, etc. in Canada? I'm not sure I could, because I'm not sure I know of them other than the ones that we become aware of as they make public statements that are utterly idiotic. Like what was that podcast festival? It was the podcast festival that apologized for the presence of Ben Shapiro. So anyways, when it's time to make fun of them and shame them publicly, we'll do it. K. Trelia says, conspiracy theory, sabotage via a Russian submarine running into the lines that are close to one another. And so Russia sabotages it so that they punish Europe and that Russia doesn't make money from selling gas to Europe. Russia's going to have all the energy they need to stay warm. They're going to have other resources that other nations are going to want. But would they do that to sabotage Europe when they could just politically just shut it off? I'm not sure. But then again, I am not the best one to see that far around the curve, because I defer to other people who have been better at predicting in the future. I'll pick their brains. If their theories make sense, I will absorb them as one absorbs information. Yeah, Who's on First says, throughout history, the poor have suffered. And that is all that's going to happen with this conflict. And that's all that has been happening with this conflict. It's been a great crisis that no politician has let go to waste, including this man right here. Listen to this. Secretary Blinken. Listen to this, by the way. Like, never let a good crisis go to waste. When some people, out there say some entities might have a vested interest not only in not resolving the Russia-Ukraine war, they might have a vested interest in exacerbating it. And you have the US, which has effectively, if not explicitly, admitted that they're fighting this, they're using Ukraine to fight a proxy war with Russia. It's fantastic. They don't have to use their own troops. They don't have to endanger their own citizens. They get to use Ukrainian citizens as political pawns. They get to use the Ukraine military as political pawns. And at the same time, they get to sell a ton of arms to Ukraine. They get to finance via tax dollars. They get to finance this. They take their own, they take their own cut at the end of the day because they get paid for the work that they're doing. Ship in arms, sell arms, fund money over there. It's good for business. And it doesn't cost the American politicians political goodwill because their own innocent citizens are not dying as a result. Their soldiers are not being injured and maimed as a result. It's a very easy war to fight by using Ukraine as a proxy to fight a Western war against Russia. And they basically admitted it. But listen to this.
Sovereignty, territorial integrity, independence, they are being challenged. And we're seeing the consequences in everything from rising food insecurity to the energy prices that we've talked about. So it's profoundly in everyone's interest for Russia to stop its aggression. But it really is incumbent upon Russia and President Putin to decide that this is what it's going to do. One person has the ability to stop this aggression tomorrow, and that's Vladimir Putin. Sovereignty, territorial integrity,
listen
independence,
to everything.
They are being challenged.
Yep.
And we're seeing
sovereignty, territorial independence being challenged. What a wonderful distraction from territorial integrity that's being challenged back home. Just distraction. But listen to this.
the consequences in everything from rising food insecurity to the energy prices that we've talked about.
Energy crisis, rising food insecurity, supply chain issues. It's an amazing thing. The longer that this war goes on, the more that American politicians and Canadian politicians can blame problems that directly result from their own policy on this ongoing war in Russia. The gas hike, the Putin gas hike, the Putin fertilizer shortage, the Putin energy crisis. It's all Putin's fault. Set aside the fact that a great many of these problems existed well before this war in Ukraine. Set aside that. These problems have been going on for a long time. Some might say years, due to COVID policies, due to other green policies. Some might say these problems have been long in the making and exacerbated overnight before the war in Ukraine. But now, instead of focusing on their own failings as government, they get to use this as the excuse for everything. Gas prices are up. It's Putin's fault. Putin's gas hike. Inflation. Putin's inflation. Energy crisis. Putin's energy crisis. No fertilizer. Putin's fault. Forget the fact that we're not nationally independent, energy independent, for policy reasons. Blame Putin for everything, which gives them a vested interest not only to not resolve this conflict, but to exacerbate it and amplify it at every step of the way. The longer it goes on, the more they can use it as an excuse to cover for their own failed policies on their own citizens. And the only question is, how long do citizens go on with a blind eye not understanding that? Blinken. Yeah. The excuse for everything. It's like, was this it? Oh, here, let's hear what Newland has to say. Newland, who says there's no biological weapons in Ukraine. There's biological research facilities, and we're scared that it might fall into the hands of Russians. I'll play that afterwards because everybody has to remember that. Listen to this.
With regard to Nord Stream 2, we continue to have very strong and clear conversations with our German allies, and I want to be clear with you today.
I want to be clear with you today. What happens after people say, I want to be clear? Bullshit comes out of their mouth.
If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
That's very interesting. My goodness, I almost forgot to bring this up, but that's why I have my bookmarks. CIA in the summer warns of potential sabotage. Victoria Nuland
With regard to Nord Stream 2,
vows. It's a promise.
we continue to have
It's a
very
promise.
strong and
If
clear
Russia invades Ukraine,
conversations, with our German
what's going to
allies.
happen?
And I want to be clear with you
Be
today.
very clear.
If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
One way or another. But don't worry, by the way. It wasn't just Nuland saying it. If anyone thought it's only Nuland doesn't have any power, although she probably has more influence than POTUS himself. If anybody was saying it's only Nuland, what does she know? She doesn't speak for the government. She doesn't speak for POTUS. POTUS speaks for himself. What did POTUS have to say about it? Give you a hint. Sounds very much the same.
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine.
It happened
Again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
Look at that face right there, by the way.
But how will you?
That static, unflinching face is indicative of cognitive impairment, in my humble opinion. For anybody who's lived with it and seen it before, that's what I see right there. That brings back memories. No blinking,
But
not even
how
blinking.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
It's just amazing. The internet is forever. And there's a reason why the powers that be want to control the platform that has democratized access to information and eternalized information. There's only so much scrubbing you can do. When is this from? Hold on a second. How do I get out of here? No, go forward. When is this from? It's from the summer. ABC News, February 2022. Let's just listen to it one more time.
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine. Again, then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2.
There will be no longer. We'll put an end to it. How do you do that? It's between
But
Russia
how
and
will
Germany.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Well, and look at that. Look at that face.
Do it.
You mess with intelligence, they have 7 ways from Sunday to get back at you, right? Right, Joe? I mean, I'm so proud. We'll do it. That grin.
Let me answer the first question.
February
first.
2022. If Russia invades, there will be no more Nord Stream pipeline. I did it again. Nord Stream pipeline. Victoria Nuland. We'll put an end to it. Summer 2022. CIA warns, be careful for sabotage. And September 2022. There appears to be sabotage, and the Nord Stream pipeline appears to be no more. Even if they can resolve the political dispute, it won't be delivering natural gas to Germany and Europe for winter. Joe Biden's going to have a nice he'll have a nice fireside Christmas. There's no question about that. And those German politicians, they'll be eating well over Christmas. There's no doubt about that.